Okay, before you start, I want you to know that there's actually two types of alternators for a 2000 Ford Focus. The car we'll be working on is a single overhead cam, and that has a different bolt pattern than the actual alternator you're looking at there. I didn't realize that until after I bought it and took it apart, and then I saw. So that is the Z-Tech dual overhead cam alternator that you see. You actually need the single overhead cam alternator that you will see later on in the video. Just want to clarify that. Now let's get to it. A few things before we start. You want to disconnect the battery, and if it's not fully charged, you want to charge it. You don't want to put any undue strain on your alternator, the new one. And when we take out the old one, I'll show you some things, some signs, so you can kind of diagnose what went wrong, because if it's just a bad alternator, that's fine, but if there's other things that caused it, then you're going to want to fix those problems. Otherwise, you'll be blowing out this one. Now, the 2000 Ford Focus single overhead cam alternator is actually, so that right here, this is the, I believe this is power steering pump, and then the alternator is right there. The dual overhead cam seems to me that it is in this rear area closer to the back of the engine compartment. But we'll be working here, and I'll be showing you step by step all of the things that you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is disable your battery and take it out. I'm just going to take mine out and charge it while I'm working. Okay, so to get the timing belt off right here, there's a little square notch, and so I just have my wrench. It's an extended wrench, and on the end of it here I just have the square, that extension, and this just fits right in, right above that pulley. Let me see if I can get a better angle. So it just fits right in there, and you put it in and you pull on it, and it will relieve the tension on the belt and that pulley right there, and then you can take the timing belt off. Okay, so here I have it installed, and so you pull down on here, and then this belt will just slip right off. Now, if you have tension too tight, maybe too small of a belt, then you are going to run into problems with your alternator. It'll wear out the bearing. So, just something to be aware of. And so now the belt is off of the alternator. Okay, now attached to the alternator there is a couple wires. Right there you have one that unbolts, and then right behind it right there is a little plug. So you want to disconnect those before you unbolt anything. You don't want to put any stress on those because they can break, especially if your car is older. Then parts are more brittle, or the wires are prone to break easier. So just be careful when you take those off, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so this is a 10 millimeter socket wrench on there, and you may find that you're using imperial or metric, and some of them work interchangeably, and on these cars you're going to get both metric parts and the imperial standard. So just be prepared for that, but this is a 10 millimeter. And then the bolt right here, that one right there, is a 13 millimeter. So you just want to be aware. There's two of them, one right here and one right there. So I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to unplug that plug down there. Okay, so I ended up taking off the plug from the power steering pump to be able to get to that second bolt there with the alternator. Okay, what you're looking at here is actually underneath the car. So here is the compressor for the air conditioner, and then right there is the alternator, and there is a bolt that needs to come undone there. 15 millimeter fits right on it. It's in an awkward place, but once you undo that, then it should come off. Okay, so I tried to avoid as much extra work as possible, but it looks like the power steering pump is going to have to come off to get the alternator out, which is sitting down there. And I'm quite certain I have the wrong one, even though I used eBay's part identifier. So that needs to come out so I can take that out. There's no way for it to go from underneath, so I'm going to pull it up and out. So take that off and just pay attention to the connected cables. You don't want to break or bend those. Okay, so this here is a grip bolt. I got this from Harbor Freight. It's $20 for the set. I actually got it on clearance because it was missing a couple. But what this does is this grips, as you can see, it kind of has those teeth in there that bite into a stripped bolt. So this is the damaged bolt diameter is 10 millimeters. So you'd use this one right here, and we're going to be working on that power steering pump bolt. Okay, it worked. Okay, so that successfully took the bolt out, and it bit on there, so I'm going to have to use some pliers or maybe even a vise to get this bolt off. Yeah, I'll put it in a vise. It's just going to pull that off anyway. So this works. Bolt grip sockets, and they have a few different names. You can get these kind of anywhere, but the best deal, you get the most from Harbor Freight. Usually I consider a Harbor Freight tool a one-time use tool. Okay, so here I had to unbolt the bolt right here for the reservoir and the power steering fluid, so I could move the power steering pump out of the way so that I could reach in and pull out this stupid alternator. There it is. As you can see, it's different bolt patterns. Anyway, that's the bad one. We'll put in the new one. Well, the new one. Okay, so now I have the right one. I ended up getting a refurbished model. A lot of parts are, well, the same. The main important components that go bad are replaced. And I got it on eBay. I'll put the link in the description below. Some parts, I mean, they cleaned the outside, obviously. But you can see they painted. It's like a spray paint or something. But the actual parts that matter are brand new. So, anyway. I'll be putting this in, and one of the things is I accidentally, well, I didn't know, but the power steering pump down here, this hose is kind of a pressure fit because there's pressure in your power steering system, and when I lifted it up, this hose right where it connects started leaking. So right underneath, it leaked all over my tools overnight while I was waiting for the part to come in the mail. So just be aware of that. You know, maybe put a bag underneath it, because the bolt and everything is fine, but it's kind of like the same type of connection as a water line, where it's a pressurized friction fit, or however you want to describe it. So anyway, just make sure you do that. You'll be good. Okay, so we're looking straight down at the alternator, and I just want to point out that you want to make sure that you don't misalign or misfeed the bolts. And you want to make sure the first bolt you have to slide it onto is the one underneath. So kind of like when you put a car tire back on, don't tighten one bolt at a time. You tighten them in succession. If you have any type of misalignment on this, if it's tweaked one way or another, it really will affect the components and performance of your car, and you may damage things. So, I mean, it is straightforward. Thankfully, it aligns nicely anyway, but you don't want any of these bolts misfed so that it's trashing the threads either inside or on the bolt. And so just take your time with it. Just tighten it just so it's snug, and then go through on each one and tighten it as you go. Okay, so when you plug it in, you want to make sure that it snaps into place. If it slides back off, no, it's just below the bolt. It's just right there. It's kind of a tough angle to get this camera in, but you want to make sure that it snaps back in place. And then you want to make sure that the hose or this line is clear of the fan. You don't want that getting in there. So just do that, and then you got to bolt on the other wire right there. Okay, now I got the alternator all hooked up. Now the other wire, don't forget, the this connector goes to the power steering pump. But then you want to make sure that this is all aligned properly on everything below it, and then as you add the power steering pump, that everything's in the right grooves and everything. You don't want to have a problem there. Okay, and then make sure that you plug your power steering pump back in. It just clips on. You should feel it click. And then you need to put the serpentine belt back on. Just make sure that all the way down there, I don't know, you can't see it very well, but all the way down there it has to be lined on all the teeth of every pulley. And then wrap it around here, and you're good to go. Obviously put the battery back in. Okay, so you just pull this tight, make sure it's all lined up, let it go, and pop it out. I'll have to take that out, but we're all set. So I'll put the battery back in and we'll start it up. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please rate and comment. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll try to walk you through any of it. If you have any requests for fixing a Ford Focus, let me know. And if you want more videos like this, click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.